Hello everybody and welcome back to the third episode of 4-H Monsters, Myths, and Crafts. In our last episode, we built our papier-mâché Cyclops puppet heads using a balloon, newspaper, water, and glue. Today, we're going to learn how to put on the eye and the nose. In the last episode, we also practiced our superpower empathy skills by taking on the perspectives of different characters in our book, The Birth of the Cyclops. And today, we're going to play an exciting role-playing game that will challenge us to use our perspective-taking skills in a fantasy game called Escape from Tartarus. You will be challenged to take on the perspectives of the Cyclops and help them escape from the deep, dark hole of Tartarus in the center of the earth. I can't wait to see what you come up with, but for right now, let's go to the workshop and learn how to put on the eye and the nose of our Cyclops. Welcome back to the workshop, everybody. Last episode, we made our papier-mâché Cyclops puppet heads. This episode, I'm going to show you how to put on the nose and the eye for your Cyclops puppet head. In addition, once it's dry, I'm also going to show you how to paint it and put on the hair. I have all of the supplies needed right here, so let's take a closer look. Okay, so here we have all of the supplies that we will need today to put on the eye and the nose for our Cyclops papier-mâché puppet head. In this container, I have a 1-to-1 mixture of glue and water. It's 1 cup of glue, 1 cup of water, just like we did for the papier-mâché head. I have strips of newspaper. You also need 1 plastic cup, and you will need a styrofoam egg carton, an X-Acto knife, and some glue, water, and your papier-mâché puppet head from the last episode, which by now should be fully dried. To make the eye, all we're going to do is cut out the bottom of a silo plastic cup. As you can see, this cup has already been cut, and we're going to do the same thing, and I'll show you how to do it. So the X-Acto knife is very sharp. This is a razor, and I would recommend that you have an adult help you to cut this. But you want to come down here close to the end and cut straight across, keeping it as even as you go as possible. But it certainly does not have to be perfect. Okay, so this will be the eye for our Cyclops. And we're going to put it right about here. And I'll just hang it out. Put it there for now. The egg carton will be our nose. And this is another delicate procedure that's dangerous with a sharp knife. So I would recommend that you have an adult help you, or an older brother or sister, because it's very easy to cut yourself. We're just going to cut out one of the egg capsules from the carton. So we have our eye from the bottom of the cup, and we have our nose from the egg carton. So I'm going to begin with the eye, and I'm going to place the eye somewhere near the top of the head, like this. And I'm just going to let it kind of sit there, and I'm going to begin papier-mâchéing, just like we did to build the head, right on top of that eye, to hold it in place. And I recommend putting on at least 6 to 8 strips of paper that are fully covered with glue and water, just to make sure that eye stays in place. All right, great. So it should look like this. It doesn't have to be that neat or perfect because we're going to be painting over it. And the next thing I'm going to put on is the nose. Is place this about here. Make sure you're lining up with the bottom where the wooden dowel will be inserted as the neck to support the puppet head, because you want the face to be symmetrical with the neck. So just make sure it's kind of lined up and it all makes sense. And you leave it there. And just begin placing your paper mache papers on top, just like the eye, to hold it in place, and that is all. And I recommend about 6 or 8 layers on the nose as well, just to hold that in place. It may not look like much now, but once we get our paint on it and the hair, it's going to look completely different. And here I have all of the supplies I need to paint my Cyclops puppet head. 3 brushes, 1 medium, or 1 small, 1 medium, 1 large. My Cyclops puppet head now with nose and eye. I have 1 cup of water and a various assortment of colors of paint. First of all, I want to make a nice skin tone. So I'm using this kind of a light beige or brown color. But first I'm going to just put the colors separately on my palette. I use a lot of white. So I have a big white tube of paint. Put the white right in the middle, and I'm going to use the large brush here. First I'll dip the brush into the water, and then take this beige, mix in some white. This is going to be my skin tone. I put some yellow in there, as you can see, just mixing it together. A lot of white and some beige, and I'm going to mix in a little red, and that should give us a nice skin tone. I'm going to paint everything except for the eye with this nice beige color. Don't be afraid to use a lot of paint to really cover up the newsprint. But feel free to use any color combinations that you want. My main concern here is to completely cover with paint the Cyclops head. And then we can even add a little bit of color to the tip of the nose, because people have highlights of pink on their noses and their cheeks. And what I will do is wait for this to dry, and then I will paint the lips in red and the eye in white and dark blue. Put on the eyelashes and she will be ready. Now I'm ready to paint the lips. So I have my smaller brush and I'm going to mix a little bit of blue with the red, just a tiny bit, and some white. It's looking good. What do you think? Now, we're missing the pupil on the eye of the Cyclops. So, for the pupil and the iris, I'm going to use blue. Just like that. And when that dries a little bit, I'll put the black dot in the middle for the actual pupil. And we probably want to put on some eyelashes. For the eyelashes, I'm using this small brush and I just put in a series of brush strokes to suggest eyelashes. I think Steropes is coming along nicely. Now it's time to apply her hair. Okay, so this is Steropes, and I've already begun her hair. But I will show you exactly how to do what I've done. Grab any kind of yarn that you have. It could be any color. And what you're going to do is measure 3 feet. 3 feet of the yarn and cut a strip off. And you will do that about 15 times. So you'll have 15 strips, and then you'll take your strips like this. Make sure it's somewhat even on the ends. Remember, you can always cut her hair once you're finished. And you're going to place right above her eye the hair. To hold it in place, I have some glue. This is clear gel tacky glue. You could probably use any kind of glue you want. And I'm going to make sure it's even before I glue it. This is not an exact science. Lift it here. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue right here. And that should hold it all in place. You want to make sure all the strings have glue. Press down. Let that dry for a couple of hours. And Steropes will be ready. Hello everyone and welcome back to Reading Corner. Last episode we left off with the marriage of Uranus and Gaia. We discussed their 3 Cyclops children as well as the 300-handed monster. Today we will begin where we left off. If you want to follow along, please download the book from our Google site and go to page 6. The father of the Cyclops thought his kids were ugly. He gathered them together and sent them to Tartarus, a cave deep below the ground near the center of the earth. The Cyclops and the 100-handed monsters were sad. Gaia and Uranus had 12 more children. They were called the Titans. Gaia was mad at her husband Uranus because he sent the Cyclops and the 100-handed monsters to Tartarus. She convinced her son Kronos to attack his father Uranus. Kronos freed the 100-handed monsters and the Cyclops from Tartarus. They helped him defeat his father Uranus. That's all for today. Let's meet back in the workshop. Welcome back to the workshop, and I'm joined by our 3 friends, Argus, Steropes, and Brontes. Now, I want to talk about Tartarus. What do we know about Tartarus?
Well, it's damp, dark, and cold. Yeah.
Yes, it's a deep, dark hole near the center of the earth. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm afraid of the dark. Who else is afraid of the dark?
I am afraid of the dark.
Me too. Not me so much.
Why do you think the dark is so scary for some people?
Because you can't see anything.
Because you don't know what might be out there in the dark.
That's true, Steropes. There's a fear of the unknown. Well, today in our studio, we're going to play a game, and I encourage everyone at home to play along with us. It's called Escape from Tartarus. Brontes, Argos, and Steropes, are you all ready to play the game?
Sure. I like games.
Me too.
Sounds good to me.
As I said, the game is called Escape from Tartarus.
Oh no! Teacher, there's no escape from Tartarus. It's pitch dark, and the walls go straight up. The walls are slimy and slippery too.
Yuck! Ah!
Okay, I understand. But when Uranus put you all into Tartarus, you weren't allowed to take anything with you, were you?
No, just the shirt on my back.
We didn't have anything with us, teacher.
But this time it will be different, because you three will be allowed to take any 5 objects that you can find around the house in the next 10 minutes that you think will either make your life in Tartarus easier, or they might help you to escape from Tartarus.
Cool! I will bring my skateboard.
And I will bring my video games.
Brontes, how will you skateboard in the dark? And Argus, how can you play video games without electricity?
Excellent point, Steropes. The objects that you choose have to be realistic for the actual conditions of Tartarus. Also, you three must cooperate to decide on which 5 objects that you are going to bring. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I hope so. I definitely don't want to spend my whole life in Tartarus. I have plans for my future.
Ugh.
Now, I am going to give everyone only 10 minutes to find the 5 objects that you want to bring to Tartarus to either make your life easier or to help you escape. Everyone at home to play along, when I say go, just pause your video for 10 minutes and look around your own house, garage, and attic for 5 objects that you would use if you were a Cyclops trapped in Tartarus. And these objects can either, like I said, help you to escape or make your time in Tartarus a little bit easier. And when the 10 minutes are up, we'll meet back here and look at the objects that Brontes, Steropes, and Argus chose from around our house to help make their life easier or to help them escape from Tartarus. We'll also hear their explanations about why they chose those objects. Let's get started. 3, 2, 1, escape from Tartarus. Time is up. I hope that everyone had enough time to choose 5 objects to bring with them to Tartarus. Now, let's take a look at what Argus, Brontes, and Steropes chose to take with them. And who would like to talk about their objects, why they chose it, and how it will be useful for them in Tartarus?
I chose a flashlight because it is dark in Tartarus and there are no lights. It could help me to find a way to escape or to make us less afraid of the dark.
Excellent choice, Argus.
I chose this red gym ball because I like to play dodgeball and soccer. It might help us pass the time better.
Very nice, Brontes.
I chose this stuffed hound dog because it reminds me of my dog and it will help me feel less alone. I also chose this white megaphone. I can use it to amplify my voice and call for help for the people living above.
Both great choices, Steropes. Good idea, Brontes.
I also chose this white hard hat because Tartarus is so deep and the walls are so high, rocks could fall down. This hard hat will prevent the falling rocks from hitting my head.
Some great choices. Now, I would like to hear from everyone working on this challenge at home about what they chose and why they chose what they did to bring to Tartarus. So, please click on the link below this video and join us in our Google Jamboard site to write down the objects you chose and why you chose them. Great job today, everyone, and I really appreciate all of your help. That's all we have for today. Please be sure to join us in our next episode where we learn how to build a Zeus Thunderbolt kite and we learn about the rescue of the Cyclops. You don't want to miss it, and I look forward to seeing everyone during our next episode.